So Elizabeth Warren did a town hall with CNN, and honestly, she lit up with enthusiasm when she spoke about economics and corruption and regulation. This is really her wheelhouse here. Let's take a look, and then we'll break it down.
How do you plan to make sure the extremely rich pay their fair taxes?
Whoa! So, look, we need big structural change in this country. And that means the kind of, let's just admit it, when you've got a government that works for the rich and it's not working nearly as well for anyone else, that's corruption. And we need to call it out plain and simple. So the first thing we need to do is we need to attack that corruption head on. I have the biggest anti-corruption bill since Watergate. Big problem? You got to have a big bill to deal with it. Now, it's got a lot of pieces to it, but the main point is to beat back on the influence of money, because that's how they keep getting this government, getting this country to work for them. So, for example, my bill says we're going to end lobbying as we know it. Block the revolving door between Main Street, between Wall Street and Washington. I'll give you one more. Everyone who runs for federal office ought to have to put their taxes online. Everyone. So part one, we got to deal with the corruption head on, but let me give you a part two. I was talking earlier about we got to rewrite the rules in this economy. And part of that is putting more power back in the hands of workers. Unions, that's one way to do it. I've got an accountable capitalism bill that says on the big Fortune 500 companies that we're going to have employees also sit on the board of directors and help make decisions. But there's one more we got to talk about, and that is my ultra millionaires tax. So the idea is on the truly great fortunes, $50 million and above, we start charging 2% a year on just that 50 millionth and first dollar and on up. 2% a year. By the way, anybody in here a homeowner? You've been paying wealth taxes for a long time. They're just called property taxes. I just want to include the Rembrandt and the diamonds in the property taxes. So I want to put a wealth tax in place, and I just want to talk to you for 1 minute about how that restructures our whole economy. We get a 2% tax on the 75,000 richest families in this country. We would have enough money to provide universal child care, universal pre-K, universal pre-K for every child in America and still have $2 trillion left over. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, so the room really lit up when she started talking about economic populism, her view on taxes, the economy, Wall Street. That's where Elizabeth Warren shines. And I've always said this, and some people even in my audience have disagreed with me on this, but deep down, she is like a hardcore policy wonk when it comes to that stuff. And I actually think she's further left on this stuff than she gives herself credit for. Because there's been a bunch of, times where she's been asked about socialism versus capitalism, and she says, like, I'm a proud capitalist, but then she goes on to explain, like, I'm for rules, and the rules need to be strong, and the rules need to be in favor of working people, and really, she's way more of a social democrat than she really gives herself credit for, and her, fawning over capitalism, actually makes her seem further right-wing than she really is once she gets into specific policy stuff. Now, Elizabeth Warren kind of starts flailing when she gets to other topics, whether it's social issues, whether it's foreign policy is probably her worst spot. She voted for Trump's monstrous, disgusting, multi-billion-dollar abomination increase to the military budget. So there's definitely a lot more for her to brush up on. But the more I see her campaign, the more I think that maybe Bernie Sanders people would look at her for a potential VP spot. The more we move along, and I don't think she's gonna get enough to really do a solid run at the nomination. But I think there will be enough support there, and there's enough ideological agreement between her and Bernie where Bernie might go, I'll go Elizabeth Warren for VP. And that would be a power ticket, dude. I mean, that would be a power ticket. I mean, I love that idea, but I love the idea of Bernie and Nina Turner. I love the idea of Bernie and Tulsi Gabbard. I honestly think he would shy away from Tulsi because she gets smeared by the media so much that would scare him away. He's shown, I don't know, a little... I think he kowtows a little too much to mainstream media pressure in a variety of different ways, but Elizabeth Warren, I mean, you really can't go wrong with that pick. I think that that's a wonderful pick, despite my disagreements with her. And her, she's shown that she will play Machiavellian politics from time to time, as she did in the 2016 election. But ultimately, she shines on these issues. And I actually think it was probably so frustrating for her. She had been rolling out, over the past 3 weeks, 4 weeks, she had been rolling out awesome policy after awesome policy after awesome policy. We discussed many of them on this show. We covered the wealth tax because it's really a great idea. And by the way, it's a way of reframing the debate where it makes people support what is a very progressive tax because of the way it's described. But anyway, she wasn't getting any coverage in mainstream media. She was rolling out awesome policy after awesome policy, and the media was like, yawn. Did Trump attack McCain again? Let's melt down over that for 3 weeks straight. And then meanwhile, Beto O'Rourke. I almost said Betta. It's Bet on my stork. Beto O'Rourke shits out a platitude sandwich, and the media's like, oh my goodness, what a viable candidate. Oh, he's amazing. Oh, we love him so much. And Elizabeth Warren sitting there holding her 18-page policy descriptions, but I've been actually really trying to do the right thing here. So poor Liz. I mean, I do like her. I know some of you guys still hate her, but I think it's looking somewhat likely that she would be a VP pick, and I won't be mad at that.